Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel and I want to share with you 20 ways in which you can simplify your life. So over the past year I have been taking some time to reassess my life and to get myself in order, and as I've done that over the last year I've noticed that there are lots of things that I could do to simplify my life. So one of the things that was really highlighted in the past year was my health. So I had a B12 diagnosis and I've been on treatment and I've had serious issues with fatigue. So in a way of combating it and kind of finding ways to move forward and accept these diagnoses, I have found ways in which I needed to simplify my life. The problem with fatigue is that there's not an awful lot you can do to kind of cure it. It is about slowing down your life and slowing the pace of your life to kind of allow yourself time to enjoy things, and it's all about prioritising things. So these are the ways that I have found helpful in slowing down the pace of my life. So the first thing I've got in a habit of doing, which I do mention a lot, is having standard meals. So although I meal plan, I actually have a set number of meals that I would have on a regular basis. So it makes it a lot easier to be able to plan meals and to budget meals. It just means that there's no pressure then on choosing meals. I know I've kind of got a bank of staples that I refer to. We still try new things every now and then, but it just means that I've got those regular meals in play and it's less to think about. Second up is to create a capsule wardrobe. This is a way of getting rid of all the clothes that you no longer wear, that don't fit, that you don't enjoy, and so that you've got a wardrobe full of things that you will use on a regular basis. And because you've got rid of all the things that you don't use, you'll find that when you open your wardrobe and open your cupboards, you'll actually see all the things really clearly. You'll be able to choose things more quickly. It just makes it quicker for morning routines, and it just means that you'll be enjoying all the things that you wear as well. Next up is to use your phone calendar to set reminders. I used to have a diary all the time and I just found that it was something that I would carry around or not refer to quite as often, or I'd get rubbish at filling in. I now use my phone. So what I do is I track all the things that I need to do. So I have to do twice a week COVID tests, I set a reminder, and it just means that I don't have to try and rely on my brain to help me. When with fatigue, I often find that I cannot remember things or I miss parts of things. So this is a way of me keeping on top of everything, and I always have my phone on me, so it just makes it much easier to refer to things, and I just schedule everything in there. My next tip is to only buy core makeup. You don't need to have lots of different palettes for different occasions. Generally, most of the time, we end up using a small selection. My selection is actually just these items here. I just find that it's easier to manage, it's easier to know exactly what I'm doing. I have a routine with my makeup, I wear the same stuff every day. It's only going to be like eyeshadow or putting on mascara that's going to be the change. So generally I wear the same kind of look. And I'm happy with that. It just makes it so much quicker and easier. My next tip is to have a bedtime and morning routine. So always going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, and having like a set little routine that you do. You always go up, change, brush your teeth, read, and then lights out. It will just help you have an easier way of fitting in those jobs that you need to do, but without it feeling like it's a chore. It's just part of the routine. It's easy to remember, easy to do, and it just makes it easy for your brain to know that it's time to switch off or time to wake up. Same with morning routines, it's about having that same wake up time. Even if it's the weekend, try not to have too much of a lie-in. It helps keep your body clock quite regular and it makes it much easier to wake up. My next tip is to have a regular switch off time. This means not looking at your phone, not looking at computer or device or TV, and just having time to kind of be, and just having time where you're doing something that you enjoy, like painting or going for a walk or reading. It's something that's specific to you, that you enjoy, that you're going to get some reset time from. The next up is to follow the 60-second rule. This means that if it's a job that you could do in less than 60 seconds, then you do it straight away. So if you know that it's going to be a job where you've got to take something and put it back in its place, and you know you're not far from it and it's like less than a minute to do, you do it straight away. If it's going to take you more than a minute, then you could let it accumulate in that area and do it at the same time as something else. It's just getting into the habit of doing those small little jobs as they happen rather than letting them pile up. My next tip is to declutter your home. This is really going to simplify your life. When you have less things around you, you have less to clear, less to tidy away, less to clutter up your mind, less things to think about. It's going to make your life that little bit simpler, and it's quite impressive how much of an impact it can have on your well-being and your mental health. And kind of linking to that is clearing your debt. Making sure that you have got rid of any debt that you owe is just going to make things so much easier moving forward. You don't have to worry about kind of that thing creeping up on you, and it can be more overwhelming than you think, having debt. So get that cleared as quickly as you can, because it's one less thing to be niggling at or thinking about. My next tip is to limit your words. So this means that you are thinking about what you're saying and you're meaning what you say, and you're taking time to think about how that's going to impact people around you. And kind of linking to that is then avoiding gossip. So not wasting your words on things that don't really matter, like gossip or chit chat that kind of is irrelevant. Give your words purpose and meaning. Next up is to have less screen time. So it's very easy to sit on Instagram or Facebook and just kind of be scrolling through and just losing time basically. Cut the screen time that you have. It will allow your brain more reset time. It'll allow your brain to relax that little bit more. It will also mean that you're spending less time worrying about what other people are doing, what others are thinking. It gives you time to kind of be you and think about what you want, what you like, what you're doing. It helps you to be in the moment that little bit more. Next up is to do one thing at a time. It's very easy to start multitasking things. You start one job, you move to another, you come back to that one. Try and get one job done at a time so that you're not kind of cluttering your mind up with lots of different things to do. If you get focused in on one job, you're more likely to do it quicker and more straightforwardly, and you'll be able to move on to the next job. Next up is to say no. There's going to be times where people are offering you things to do, or experiences, or trips and things like that. Knowing when to say no is quite crucial. You don't need to be doing lots of expensive things, you don't need to be spending lots of money. It's just about prioritising what you want to do, and don't be afraid to say no. It's about you choosing what works for you and knowing when you need to have some rest time. And that's a really hard one to accept. That's one that's taken me a good year to kind of acknowledge, but I'm now at the point where if I have to say no to doing things with friends or going out, then I will do that, because at the moment it's more important that I'm prioritising my well-being and my health. And when you've got fatigue, it's very hard to manage your activities. You need to manage the activity and know when you've got rest time either side of that activity. So being able to say no to things makes it a lot easier, because then I'm choosing what works best for me, and I kind of spread myself out a little bit more thinly then. Next up is to create a filing system for your paperwork, and it just needs to be something simple. So for me, what I use is a drawer. So I have a drawer underneath my TV that I just put paperwork in, and it gets to the point where once a year I will clear out anything that's old and then keep everything else there. And then in a plastic wallet inside that are important documents. But other than that, I don't need to have a complicated filing system. Most bills are accessible online, so I don't need to keep copies. It's just always handy to have the most recent one in case. But generally, most of the paperwork doesn't need to be stored. So I just keep it in a drawer, and then I know that there's one place that I can find things. So it's having a real simple system. It could be that you have a box file and you just keep it in the box file. You just put new stuff in each time. Next up is to pay annually for things. It's quite easy to get into the habit of just setting up direct debits and just letting it come out monthly. But actually you can save money by paying it in one go, and then you don't have to worry about that monthly payment coming out and checking your balance for that payment. The more things that you can pay for in advance, the less things that are going to be coming out each month, and there's less things to think about. So it will simplify your budgeting. So next up is to buy less. So try not to go shopping or browsing, especially on the sofa online. It's just about buying less things and bringing less into your home. You don't need as many things as you think. I find it quite helpful then to just list the things that I need as I come across them and then decide if I still need that item after a week or 2 weeks, and then I'll think about purchasing. So buying less things will keep it much easier to keep on top of all the inventory in your house. It will make it feel less cluttered. Next up is to choose your priorities carefully. So this is about how you're using your time, what you're allocating your time towards. Know whether or not your relationships are mutual and kind of think about what is benefiting both of you or just you, and prioritise things according to your needs. Next up is to do a small amount of exercise regularly. This doesn't have to mean regular gym sessions. It could just be that you walk around the block once a day, or you go for a walk in your favourite place. It could be that you do a sport once a week, like I do badminton once a week. Find the little bit of exercise that you can do regularly that works for you. It does not have to be big or complicated. It's about what suits you, but a little bit here and there on a regular basis is going to do you a world of good. Next up is to meditate and to clear your mind. Actually dedicate some time where you're just still, where you're just thinking about your breathing or just thinking about one thing, so that you can have time for your mind to kind of rest and to clear out all the things that are in there. And finally, my last tip is to be positive. It's very easy to start bogging yourself down with lots of negative thoughts, and that can be really quite cluttering. Find a positive in each thing. Even though it can be really challenging sometimes, if you can find a positive, it will help you appreciate those little things, and that will help you keep on top of your general well-being as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that these tips help you to live a little bit more of a simple life. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe down below if you want to see more videos on decluttering, minimalism and my no spend year. Take care, bye.